Sup, y'all? So I've been taking YouTube seriously for a couple months now. So in this video, I want to talk about what it's like getting a small channel off the ground. I want to talk about what goes into it and just kind of have some reflections on my journey so far. I hope it can be of use for new creators who are a step or two away from this, and maybe interesting to those of you who are just like the channel and want to see some behind the scenes. Hey y'all, welcome back to what I'm calling the psychedelic corner of the internet. I'm Tyler. I would consider myself an astronaut surfer of inner and outer space, a musician, and new YouTuber. This channel is all about the mystical edges of reality, visionary experiences, trip reports. I also do interviews of psychedelic artists, poets, anybody of a like mind. It's also a great excuse to pick the brains of the musicians that I really like, which is kind of why I started it in the first place. So there's a few playlists on my page where you can check all of that out. So a couple months ago, I started really taking my YouTube channel seriously. I got inspired to do it for a number of different reasons. And the first video that I made was kind of just reflecting on my starting point. And that's a video called Starting a YouTube Journey from Scratch. So I made that video and it's under its own playlist that I'm calling YouTube Journey, because on top of the trip reports and interviews and stuff that I do on this channel, I also want to just take people on this side of things so they can see transparently what it's like for someone who's just now starting a YouTube channel and trying to build it up from the ground. I also want to take the people watching this along with me on that to see what it's all like. Mostly for transparency, because I like it when content creators that I enjoy, I like to see them do this type of stuff. And hopefully it can also be helpful to other people who are interested in starting their own channels or doing something like that. I'll throw in a link to that first video that I made, which I just filmed without any editing, just straight off of my iPhone, and uploaded it straight to YouTube, just to kind of briefly recap on some of the things that I talked about in the video. A big part of my mindset going into this was that I'm not gonna wait until I'm good at this, or I have this piece of equipment, or X, Y, and Z, that this is all I need to really start. I'm just gonna go for it. My mindset is basically just to go fast, sloppy, and improve along the way, instead of being so precious and delicate. It reminds me a lot of the way that SpaceX is developing their rockets right now. I'm a spaceflight nerd, so I'm keeping up with all this stuff. If you compare Blue Origin, the company that's made by Jeff Bezos, and SpaceX, if you compare those two rocket companies, you'll see that Blue Origin is testing things like very slow and super safe and just making everything so precious and trying to get it right. But their innovation and progress is a lot slower than SpaceX, who, if you watch them, they're blowing up rockets and making just like kind of cheap prototype versions. If they blow up, they blow up. If it sucks, it sucks. That's kind of the mindset to improve rapidly and really get things going. It's all based on continually improving your craft and just doing it and doing it and doing it. And I also know this from writing songs. The only way I got better was just to do more and more and more and more. So it's like, okay, maybe this song sucks a little bit, but I keep making them and making them and making them. And by the time where now I've written, probably over 100 songs, now the little stuff is easy and I can concentrate on polishing those fine details. There's a bunch of stuff like that that I'm still trying to get better at. For example, I'm still not entirely comfortable speaking to a camera, but I do like to treat it as if I'm talking to someone that I know, so hopefully you feel that way too. I'm imagining you as my invisible buddy that I'm just talking to like I would one of my actual friends. So yeah, and another thing I talked about in the video was my motivation to start this channel was because I truly want to live a creative life. Right now, I'm a music teacher and it's great and it's fulfilling in its own way, but there's still something off to me that I don't want to be working for some corporation, even if it's a good one, you know, like nothing against the music school that I work for. I love them, all the people are great, but it's a matter of something that just resonates with my being. I was watching another video kind of related to all of this by Kyle Kalinske, who's a political YouTuber, but he's one of my favorites. And he made a video, not about politics, but about kind of like life purpose and doing things that make you happy, right? He made the point that finding peace is living in a way that coincides with your own nature. And I feel like working nearly full-time for some company and getting paid, you know, what is basically the minimum wage, that does not coincide with my nature. And what does is talking about mind expansion, talking about trip reports, talking about music and creativity, like that's where my real passion lies. So that's what I want to do. And previously, the last like 10, 15 years of my life, I only wanted to become a touring musician. So recently, starting this YouTube stuff, it's kind of opened my mind on what I consider to be creative work. So now I'm open to the idea of maybe I'm not only touring for money and playing music, but I'm also making videos, I'm doing this, I'm doing interviews, I'm doing art or whatever, you know, I'm just trying to expand what that means. But I do know that I want to be A, independent, and 2, A2C4. I want to be independent and I want to be creative. And so far, I feel like I'm not doing that at my current job, so that's why I'm trying to go hard with this YouTube stuff and, you know, have fun along the way. So I'm not worried, I don't have any money coming in right now, so it has to be about that. It has to be about enjoying it. So that's where I'm at right now. So far so good, it's been fun. And I actually haven't been able to make this video for the last week because I've been working every single day. I believe in working hard for something that you believe in and something you care about, but yeah, I feel like if I'm gonna work over 20 something hours a week, I have to really, really care about it. So yeah, that's the goal. I want to live a creative life and I'm gonna make that happen one way or another. I'm not sure if I mentioned this in my first video, but I wanted to talk a little bit about what actually started this desire to make YouTube videos. One of my favorite bands ever is Vinyl Williams. They're a neo-psychedelic band. You could also call them harmonious music. Check out the interview to find out exactly what harmonious means. It's kind of a new genre tag, but I think it definitely has its own vein and special place in the music world. I'm super fascinated by Vinyl Williams music because it moves me in such a profound and psychedelic way. I really wanted to know what was going on in Lionel's head, who is the chief music maker behind Vinyl Williams. I also am a huge fan of the band Zorch. And as it turns out, the ex-drummer for Zorch now plays for Vinyl Williams, so they're in a band together, and I know that guy. I actually was super fascinated in both the music of Zorch and Vinyl Williams, and I really wanted to pick their brains, you know, I wanted to find out what makes them tick, and I was just kind of dying of curiosity because really for my own creative path, you know, I'm interested to learn from people like that because they're the ones that I resonate with the most. So the more trade secrets and things I can learn and pick up from them, the better. It was about 2 years ago to this day that I posted that Vinyl Williams interview, and it went really well. It was the very first interview I've ever done, and at the time, Lionel said that it was the best interview that he had ever done. That first experience was just so positive and reassuring and reaffirming that I knew I wanted to keep doing it, but I actually didn't carry on for a while. Yeah, I actually didn't make any more videos for a while. just because life. Another reason that I wanted to start this channel is because of the community aspect of it. I named the channel Find the Others after the Terrence McKenna and Tim Leary quote, because that's literally what I want to do. I want to find other people, other interesting individuals who are not just interested in taking psychedelics recreationally, but interested in their implications and the mystical experiences that come out of them. I know that not everybody has the same type of visionary experiences that I have necessarily. Everyone has their own variety and flavor and things that resonate with them in particular. But I know that my journey has me just totally engrossed and fascinated in this whole world. So I really want to find other people who are just as fascinated by this as me. When I made that first video, I said how many subscribers I was at, which at that time, right when I started taking the channel seriously, I had about 42 subscribers. And I'm happy to say that now that's been bumped up to 170 or 171 as of the filming of this video. So I'm super happy that the channel has been growing, and super thankful to all of you who hit subscribe, because y'all are the OG pioneers and really helping me just spread these ideas to more people, and ultimately down the line, you know, I get to live the type of creative and independent life that I want. So hopefully it's a win-win for both of us. Most of my videos have been doing pretty humble numbers, you know, like between the 50 view and 500 view range is where my typical video falls. But most of you who subscribe from the channel probably came from my psilocybin heroic dose trip report video, where I talk about doing the Terrence McKenna heroic dose, which I noticed after I posted the video, a lot of people are kind of nitpicking and upset that I didn't actually take 5 grams or technically sit in the darkness. So I hear you, and I was not trying to falsely advertise. I was more just quoting Terrence in that case, and because it just had that nice ring to it, that I think it's a good title, you know, 5 grams in silent darkness. It just sounds like a chapter of a book, and it's a Terrence quote that a lot of people are familiar with, so that's all I meant by it. You know, I'm not the type of person to like get boiled down to the specifics, and if you ask me, it matters less about did I follow the strict parameters of silent darkness and 5 grams, or what was in the content of the experience, which if you ask me, I got what you would get from a 5 gram experience. For one, because I'm pretty sensitive to psychedelics, and 2, I got what, you know, I needed out of that. So it didn't matter that I listened to music or that I was 0.45 grams away from hitting 5 grams exactly. That's just my opinion, you know. Part of this is learning that you can't make everybody happy, but hey, maybe that means in the future I'll actually do a 5 grams video where I'm like actually sitting in silent darkness, just so I can actually say that that's what I did. So didn't mean to lie to you guys. I wasn't thinking about that too deeply. At the time that I made that first video, I was using my iPhone. Now I have this Sony RX100 V camera, which is overheating on me right now. As far as goals for the future, I just kind of want to hit 500 subscribers. I think that would be a pretty solid like base to start with, and at that point maybe I can start doing live stream stuff and hanging out. I already started an Instagram and a Discord server for the group. There's like 4 people in the Discord and 2 people on the Instagram, but I'm going to put the links there if you want to go check that out. Yeah, I have a bunch of other video ideas still too. I think one of the next ones I'm going to do is my first MDMA roll. I'm also going to do a video about my favorite research chemical called 4-HOMET. It's a really interesting psychedelic, so I'm going to talk about that. And I have a whole like sub-series idea that I'm going to do where I'm basically talking about my whisperings from the collective unconscious that started happening when I was 15 years old that kind of led me to this psychedelic world. It's all very interesting and just kind of weird, but yeah, I want to make a video kind of compiling all of that stuff together and turning it into a solid narrative, because ultimately what I want to do with all these stories is write a book. The more videos I make about this, the better I get at learning to tell my own stories. And yeah, I'm just honing my craft, trying to get used to talking on camera. I've met some really cool and nice people who have reached out since I started this channel, and I just want to take a second to shout all of you guys out and say thanks, you know, for being homies. I was also featured recently on a podcast in Australia called Friends in High Places, so I'm going to put a link to that too. A good friend of mine who just started his own YouTube channel, so go support him. There's a lot of small psychedelic YouTubers that have also reached out to me. It's cool to be sharing this ride together with you. I don't see it in a competitive way at all. I think there's some phrase that I can't remember right now, like when the water rises, all boats get lifted up. I don't remember the quote, but it's something like that, where I think by cooperating and helping each other out and having each other on each other's channels, we can all help each other achieve the kind of goals that we want and just create more of a community. So I think that's all just a good thing. Just to kind of sum that all up, since my camera keeps overheating, the goal of this channel is to focus on issues that fascinate me, issues that I'm naturally passionate about. I also like the idea of transparency and being able to see what goes behind the scenes making of videos. I was gonna do some stuff about my process and my idea planning in this video, but I decided just to do an update, and I'll make another video sometime about my process behind making a video. I'll make a separate video about that actual process of planning and writing my script, stuff like that that goes behind making each video. I've learned a lot of my stuff from other YouTubers who share their process, like Ali Abdal. There's a bunch of others. If you just look up for specific topics, there's always going to be answered. You know, YouTube is like its own Google, where if there's something specific that you need to learn that goes into making a video, whether that's planning it, you know, writing the script, or filming, or how to get used to talking on the camera. I've watched millions of videos about all of those topics and kind of just soaked up the ones that resonated with me, and kind of, you know, at the same time doing my own thing, just like any other art form. So with videos like that, you know, you have people like Ali Abdal. That's like a level 99 teaching a level 1. So with me showing it to you guys, I hope it's more like a level 5 showing it to a level 1 or 2. So that's kind of the mindset I have for me sharing the first few steps of my YouTube journey, because I'm really not that far along. So I think that's going to be it for today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all very soon. Peace.